Hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Works better if it's turned on. Whoops. Yeah, yeah.
Let's have a big round of applause, please. To Glen. Welcome.
So maybe you heard, even without the microphone, my wow. So what a day. What a wonderful presentation of information and so forth. A very enlightening day for all of us, I know. And as I was listening through, I think that there are three themes that maybe flow through everything that we've had today. First one is systems. That what we work with is a system, and certainly if you look at the circular economy, it is a system. The second theme was people. In many ways, both us as water professionals, but also the people we work with. A third, which I don't know was emphasized as much, but I'd like to bring into this discussion, is journey. Because we're on a journey. Not to a fixed destination, but we have a direction and so forth. So I hope as I go forward and kind of modify a little bit what I say, that those three themes will come through this presentation. So fundamental changes to water management are needed to avoid stress. We all know that. They're needed in two areas. The first area, and I'll come to that in a minute, is in terms of water stress. One water stress is when you don't have enough water. The drought side. I'll come to the other, which is happening outside, which is when you have too much water. But stress and a system that's able to deal with stress deals with droughts and floods. I will tell you we have the answers for these things. This is really good news that we know how to address these. For the drought situation, it's what some refer to as the portfolio. It's how do we put together the combination of water sources that we have, the right combination for a given situation. And you read a lot faster than I talk. You see the combination here, and what has come to the fore in the last decades, most particularly, is both reclamation and reuse and desalination. These are becoming essential components of the portfolio in many locations. The second then is, what do we do when it rains too much, the flooding? Here the answer is the same conceptually, but with different components. The answer is the portfolio of components. Now, in the distant past, we actually thought about using natural features more. As we've moved, especially into urban areas, we tend to think about, and even in more natural areas, we think about the engineered systems, pipes and levees and dikes and so forth. But we're bringing back the natural systems. This is one but it takes changing how we think and changing how we act, and using the tools that are available to us. So that's actually a people side of this. It's us, but us working with others that don't understand that these possibilities are here. That there's no reason to accept poor water management and the circumstances for it any place on this planet. It's really working with people is what gets us there. We've had quite a bit of discussion about reuse, and this is a change in mind. We can figure out how to do it, right? Not only the technical side, but the financing side. And certainly the incorporation of natural systems, even in urban areas, is progressing quite well. All this is happening, just not enough yet. Scaling it up, which is a little bit about the journey, right? The second thing, so now circularity, water is absolutely part of that, but other resources. In fact, Neil mentioned the Stockholm Resilience Center. Water management is becoming more resource efficient. These wedges coming out are where we're trying to use 2 or 3 planet Earths. Every one of these relates to water. Every one of them. Including things like biodiversity and land system change, just because we're taking too much water out of the environment. We take too much water out of the environment. We need to take less, which means we need to use it more efficiently and use it multiple times. It's that simple. Now, there's another aspect of this also. The diagram that's coming up here, this is showing the relative costs of quite a number of just basic materials. So natural gas, materials, agricultural raw materials. The line that's here is that if you go back to back in history from this vertical line, the cost of these things was constant for 100 years because we had plenty, we had excess. What going forward reflects scarcity. Scarcity creates this type of chaos. We've all seen it, we experience it. Not just decades, but a century or more. There are more that are being investigated, and we saw the presentation just before me in terms of extracting valuable materials out of brines. This is an area of very active investigation. And it's not just investigation, people are starting to do this. We really need to pay attention to the results that folks are getting and prepare ourselves to implement these as we go forward. And here's the way some folks are looking at this as a pyramid and moving up in terms of value and up in terms of contribution, but also less volume. BOD is chemical energy, right? And nutrients. This is the distribution. So the nutrients are in the urine. We really need to move to not only separating gray water, but also separating urine. This would dramatically change wastewater treatment and our ability to recover other resources. In the fecal matter, the toilet waste, and kitchen waste, there's a lot of energy here. And what you end up with then is the gray water, which is not very contaminated. This is something that we also need to be pursuing much more aggressively. And this comes down to people again. Because we have the technology to do all this. It's getting people comfortable with this. They will and they do because it's happened. We're part of the problem. We say, oh, people will never accept this, even though there are places where they do. People, and sometimes it's us. It's our preconceptions in terms of what's possible. A recovered material is a resource only when used. This is also, Neil asked what, in terms of constraints. One is putting everything on the table in an unbiased fashion. Take away biases in terms of what specific components of the system are. Just put everything on the table. And then systems. Put it together in well-functioning systems. Some of the components will be very large scale. They'll be centralized. Others will be decentralized. Just take the right pieces for a given situation, put them together in a good system, and you have the answer. This is a little cartoon just to show all these things coming together. In many cases, you don't need all these. You ought to have a vision, though, of how you can get to this complete system. We're on a journey. And water, we're never done. We're on a journey. You need to know where you're going to get to a reasonable place in the journey. What do these systems do? They improve public health protection. Reuse, people say, we actually improve public health protection, less water out of the environment, significantly reduce environmental discharges, reduce consumption of resources, and actually, as you have distributed components, this is a system which is easier to upgrade and expand as you go forward. Again, this is not an either or of centralized or distributed, it's the combination of those. That's the direction of our journey here, an increased system resilience and a better urban environment. So let me give you a vision. I like to see, this is my vision today in terms of our direction. Not a specific destination, but our direction. So it's integrated rainwater, stormwater management. I've talked about this already. The important point here is integrating with spatial planning. People. We as water professionals need to interact with those that make these decisions about spatial planning. We need to be an integral part of that. Portfolio approach to water supply. I believe that in time, reuse will be the norm in terms of managing used water, if I can use the Singaporean term here, which I like. Resource efficiency. So I grew up on a farm, and we used to say a weed is just a plant out of place. But I believe this is an area that we as water professionals haven't will be sustained. And flexibility and adaptability. Whenever we do something, we ought to think about not just the one way that we intend to use it now, but the different ways that it can be used into the future. We can build much more flexibility into our systems if we just think about it. So some final thoughts. My opportunity to share just a couple things with you. So I've said this already, but water stress is not inevitable. We create water stress because circumstances that we have going forward. So, and our circumstances are going to continue to change. So water management can and must adjust to provide reliable and resilient services to humanity and the environment. We need to be thinking about this journey and the direction that we're going. The great variety of circumstances that water management systems must adapt to. So we have, on this planet, we have such a wide but they're examples. We need to make this the norm. We need to be part of making this the norm. I didn't say much about it directly about industrial management and reuse. I want to say that everything I've said, which has been more focused, if you will, on the municipal side, it applies to industrial management as well. So, and resource recovery is progressing, but connections
Please remain on the stage. Thank you very much, Glenn, for that inspiring presentation and for sharing your vision with us today. Kindly accept this token of appreciation presented to you by the Saudi Water Authority to thank you
Thank you.
for your rich participation.